everybody, and welcome to another edition of Sports View. I'm Ron Cameron.
And I'm Bob Page, and Ronnie and I were just watching the open of the program as it rolled, and we saw Lomas's face come up. I forgot all about
what
that.
I just said.
Ron reminded me that Lomas Brown appeared on this program just prior to the start of the season and guaranteed us, a la Jim Harbaugh, that the Lions would be 12-4 this year.
No, he said they'd win 12 games, Bob.
Yeah, that's right,
how many years it would take.
Yeah, what was the final? Wasn't it kind of the reverse, like 4-12?
You said they'd go 50. They'd win 50%.
I said the Lions could go 8-8. They could have, but they didn't. At any rate,
in what league were we talking
Let's
about?
get to the paying customers, and because of that, I'm going to drop your paper to the end. We're talking about the paying customers
and I'll be
today.
the last.
Al Dietrich Oldsmobile GMC truck on M59 in Waterford. For you busy corporate executives like Mr. Cameron, those of you concerned, tax time's coming, Ronnie. Get a lease deal from Uncle Al out there on a new 88 Oldsmobile.
You say busy executives, yes, and I admit I'm busy and I work because nobody else in this town wants to work, the losers.
You characterize the entire town that way.
I've interviewed people.
Even Jerry Green, our guest whom I haven't introduced yet, gets a kick out of that.
Yeah, well, no, I'm just telling the truth. People just don't want to work today.
Jerry, can you believe I've done 701 shows with this guy?
Listen,
did you see that number up there, Jerry?
Clown.
701 shows with this guy, and I think I still got my sanity.
You know,
Let me tell you something.
This is the oddest couple I have ever seen.
Better than the Odd Couple. We're a lot better. But listen what I'm saying just for a second, though. If anybody out there is looking for work and you got it right here, which is rare, or here, which is rare, or here, which is rare, give me a call. We'll work in the sales department. Call this number, 24 hours a day with your number. Get back, 751-1880. We'll see who out there wants to work.
And if you want to be
I won't get any calls.
If you want to be like Ron Cameron and have it right here, go to Top Hat Hamburgers. That's one of our sponsors.
Where you go? I don't go there.
As well today.
You'll catch me dead there.
And Top Hat has...
That's one of your sponsors.
Top Hat's
I don't care. That's
one of
his
the
sponsor.
outstanding places in metropolitan Detroit.
That's the only place you can afford to eat.
2 locations.
Before you got the job in New York, that's all you could afford to go eat and stop
Woodward North, and I'll be forever grateful to them. Woodward north of 13 Mile and DeQuinter at 8 Mile. We have David Roth and the folks at Cattleman's Meat Center, Rivertown Saloon, Fred Wetzel and the folks at T-Com Pagers. Did you say Binary Computers?
No, he didn't
12
say
Mile
it.
and Woodward.
Yeah.
Pro-Am Sports Systems.
You don't know what you say.
The Sting, John Rouser, Esley Thomas and Company, and was there something else?
Yes,
in the
there
show?
is.
Oh yes, Sports Fans.
Shut up. When Sports Fans Journals come, this makes a great gift. Christmas or after Christmas, birthdays. Call this number 24 hours a day for subscription information. 751-1818. 76 pages of hot. And he didn't get his column in this time, Bob Page, so you should go and buy this issue for sure.
All right, now, the guest in the program today is my longtime friend, Jerry Green, the former sports columnist at the Detroit News, and I have written in your magazine about the shenanigans that have gone on there in the department. Basically what they have done is they have demoted Jerry to sports writer. He should feel fortunate because in our business, when they don't like you, they fire you. But in the newspaper business, you get to keep your job. What happened down at the Detroit News? Why are you no longer writing that column on the front page of the paper after however many years it was?
Well, I was a sports columnist, 15 years, sure. And one man didn't like it.
Giles. Is that Robert Giles?
It's not Warren Giles, is it?
Robert Giles, and he's the
Warren Giles.
And he's the new. Is he the new publisher?
He's the executive editor.
Executive editor of the paper. And
the readers liked it.
He came to town from where?
Rochester.
So naturally, typical of broadcast executives in this town, the man has been here 2 months and he is already an absolute expert on the Detroit media and how it works. Whatever he's been.
Let me tell you something. You show me an executive in radio and television, and you show me an executive of the newspaper, and I'll show you a clown. An idiot, probably. I think this town is run.
I don't know that I go as far as to say
I'm
that.
I'm going to tell you this. I think this town's radio and TV executives, as well as the newspaper, stinks. And if you're watching, too bad. That's what I think. I think they're losers.
Now that we finish with us,
I just want to say one thing.
Yes.
That the sentiments expressed by this program
are those
do not necessarily apply to the guests.
Okay.
Now, nor do they necessarily apply to me either.
Yeah, they definitely apply to you.
I think there's some very competent people
One
here.
more. I think you could take 3 things and call a radio and television executives or newspaper executives liars, phonies, or backstabbers.
Fine. Jerry, I think Jerry and I are in basic philosophical disagreement with you. However, to get back to the issue at hand, Mr. Giles decided he simply didn't like you.
Yeah, he decided that a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And
is that what he told you? Did they tell you? Did he call you into his office and explain what he was doing?
I got the drift. Mm-hmm. I got the drift. I was in his office a couple of times, and
what did he object to?
I'm not certain.
Never said, Jerry, I don't like...
He said he didn't like my writing. He didn't like the tone some of my columns took. I think the public did. you know, the surveys that the Detroit News does from time to time, which are the equivalent of television ratings, they were very supportive of me. And
Let me ask you, has this idiot ever written before himself?
this man happens to have been a Pulitzer Prize winner, a
Is he?
graduate of Columbia Journalism School, a former Neiman Fellow. I mean, he's got very powerful credentials.
Very powerful.
Ron sometimes is put in his place on this program, Jerry,
No,
once
not
in a while.
often, not often. But, so at least he has credentials. But what makes him credentials to be an editor, an executive editor?
That's how he.
That's how
You
he-
know, that's how he earned these plaudits.
I mean, all I'm saying is my objection is to people like this who come from out of town and look
No
at,
idea about the town
look
or
at
what the
or
people want or
sports
anything.
coverage. To my way of thinking, and I've written this in your publication, I've said it on the show, and I'm not just saying it because Jerry's here. Jerry Green is one of the last sports writers in this town who was not afraid to take people on, who was not afraid to tell it like it is, and I think that we missed that kind of coverage in the daily
Well,
newspaper.
they ran you out of town for doing it. They tried to do the same with me.
At
The hell with it.
at any rate. Do you see it that way too?
People do not like to see criticism of their teams. You know, I mean, here the Detroit Lions have been a rotten team for 25 years. There are a number of reasons. There are some people who have gone through the entire 25 years and they haven't changed. And we've seen that
Did they-
just recently with the hiring of a new coach.
Did they at any time in there tell you to be a bit of a shill when you talked to Bill
I
Giles?
was never. Bob Giles.
Bob Giles, whatever his name
Bill
is.
Giles was a former editor.
Right.
Oh, who knows?
was
I
in
don't know,
that
these
position
clowns.
A few years
What a-
ago. Not clowns.
That's the best thing I can say about these guys.
No, I was never told to be a shill.
Jerry,
Never.
people in
I
media-
wouldn't be. I've been criticized. I was criticized inside the office, not by Bob Giles so much, but by other people in the sports department for being too negative. And my response, as it always has been, you know, I write negatively about negative things. You know, what I wrote, I almost said write. What I wrote reflected the you know, the performance of the teams on the field.
And that's what I've always said too about my own career in this town. You can be positive.
career?
I can be positive. We all can be positive when we're talking about positive things. And we've had a lot of positive things in this town. My gosh. I mean, the Tigers, the job they've done.
They don't want
shocked
people
the
to tell
Mariners.
like it is.
The Pistons, yeah. But when the circumstances warrant, when you have to be negative, not many people in this town have the guts to do so. And Jerry Green was one of them. Now,
I would say you're absolutely correct in
Now-
that. I agree with you. I think, you know, I think there should be some harsh criticism in newspapers. I think that's what the public buys papers for.
I must ask you, because this has been long talked about among those of us in the media in Detroit, that you and the Detroit News other lead columnist, Joe Falls, have never really had a good relationship. It's always been an uncomfortable relationship, competition. Did Joe, who is close to Mr. Giles, I understand, have anything to do, in your mind, with your demotion?
Well, in my mind, I would say yes, because Lynn Henning succeeded me. Lynn Henning is quite a bit younger than I am. I felt very strongly, and Joe, you know, Joe wrote this himself a couple of weeks ago, that he was the actual Rasputin favoring Lynn Henning.
Joe wrote this. I didn't see it. I was.
And he wrote a bit about Lynn Henning and said that he said, to be honest, I hope that someday, I'm quoting Joe now,
Oh, I saw that Lynn would take his place at the
Lynn
paper.
would take his place.
But that had nothing to do with you. He didn't say, I wanted him to take Jerry Green's place.
No, he didn't say that.
Right.
Jerry-
But, you know, I could see how it was being prepared, that's all.
Are you,
Jerry,
are you
well,
bitter
I
about
wanted to-
this?
Angry.
Uh-huh.
I've been angry all along.
At Joe?
Not especially at Joe.
Rick Sayers, the editor of the paper, the
He
guy who
hasn't got-
runs
this guy
the
hasn't got
sports
a clue,
department.
this clown.
Well, all right, okay.
He hasn't got a clue.
Rick and I have never really gotten along very well.
What are you going to do now?
I'm going to go to work.
Just and write whatever they. I mean, they don't let you travel anymore.
Well, are you taking a break now? Or?
Well, they want us to take.
They want to take a break, and I've got a question. If you just shut up, and
I'm
then
sure
I'll
the
ask
public
the
is
question
just
now.
dying to find out what it is.
What I wanted to ask you: did they want you to leave?
Did they want me to leave?
Did they want you to quit?
I would say that's something you'll have to ask them.
Did you-
but
did you
I get
consider-
that feeling.
Did you consider?
I have never considered leaving the Detroit News.
If this mess between these two, what you call them, newspapers, going together, Free Press, if that had not been the case, would you have gone to the Free Press?
I haven't been asked.
But I mean,
If I were asked, I would,
very conservative.
you know, I would consider it.
All right, I
The same
know
as
we have
anybody
to go
else
to a
would
break.
consider
They're
a job
signaling
elsewhere
for-
if he was asked.
They're signaling frantically out there. Just one last question on the subject, then we'll go to a break, guys, okay? You're going to stay at the Detroit News, you're saying. Are you contemplating any type of lawsuit based on age discrimination? Do you think that had anything to do with your demotion?
I think it's possible.
Will you sue?
I don't know, I can't
Don't
say.
know yet. Well, Jerry Green is here on Sports View today, and we have a lot to talk about with him, Wayne Fonts, and much more, and we'll do that. Yes, you're laughing. We got to find something that you approve of, Ronnie, on this program.
Don't
But
approve of
anyway.
that move.
But
Record speaks for itself.
We'll continue with Jerry Green right after this.
This is not your father's Oldsmobile.
It's a new generation of Oldsmobiles.
At Al Dietrich Olds GMC Trucks,
Choose from a great selection of Oldsmobiles.
including Cutlass Supreme and the restyled Cutlass CL.
Or hundreds of GMC trucks in stock.
Complete with an Uncle Al price that can't be beat.
For sales or service.
Let Uncle Al come through for you.
This is the new generation of Oldsmobile.
East of the Pontiac Airport.
On M59 in Waterford.
For that sports fan on your Christmas list, what about a gift subscription to Sports Fans Journal? Just $15 a year. Our columnists include Ernie Harwell, George Kell, Don Cherry, Dick Vitale, George Allen, Denny McClain, Jimmy Carson, Bob Feller, Bill Gadsby, Jim Northrup, and a whole lot more. Sports Fans Journal makes a great Christmas gift for sports fans in Michigan, Ernie Wells in the U.S. Call our 24-hour hotline at 751-1818. Call Sports Fans Journal now, 751-1818.
Hey, where's the meat?
It's right here at Cattleman's Meat Center where you can buy fresh, lean, top quality beef, pork, veal, poultry, even fish. Packing house style. Save up to 40%. Quality guaranteed.
Where's the meat?
Come inside our 3,500 square foot cooler for everyday low prices like bone-in New York strips, just $1.59 a pound. Cattleman's Meat Center, Eastern Market area, and Hamtramck. No limit. Save up to 40%.
You said it, honey.
We're back on Sports View with Detroit News sports writer Jerry Green. Jerry, we talked about you saying you were staying with the Detroit News. If another offer came from another town, is it the fact that you don't want to leave Detroit? You've been here all your life.
I've worked for the Detroit News for 25 years,
Yes.
and I have roots there.
But the knife went in your back.
So you take it out and you do what you have to do.
Yeah,
that's
but
all.
what if another...
If I got another offer to be a columnist in another city, I would seriously consider it.
Okay, Wayne Fonts.
Let him answer the question.
He
Bob, just-
Wayne Font, you were going to say something before. I wanted to bring up an analogy. You said I'm not being permitted to travel. I had the Fiesta Bowl assignment taken away from me.
And the Pistons playoffs? Or
The Pistons playoffs last year.
The Tigers
when I was still
playoffs?
a column. Well, Tigers weren't in playoffs.
Or when the,
This
no, when
Ron
we
didn't
were
realize.
talking-
Ron didn't realize that,
No,
Jerry.
who was that? You were about the World Series, and that's what it was.
Yeah, okay. I had been told I would go to the World Series, and since I was the closest to Kirk Gibson on our staff, I sort of, and I was already in California, I sort of felt that it would be a smart business professional decision to tell me to stay there, but nobody said anything. Gordie Howe, years and years ago, when he worked for the Red Wings, after he was finished playing for the Red Wings, came up with a term which he called the mushroom
Right.
treatment, and Gordie, in his whimsical, funny way, was able to say, what do I do at Olympia? What do I do for the Red Wings? They put me in a closet. Every few days, they open the door and dump some manure on me and then close the door, and this is the mushroom treatment.
That's what you feel you've gotten at the Detroit News?
That's what I feel is happening now, yeah.
All right, as I started to mention a
Of
moment
course,
ago,
now they'll see
Let 'em
this
finish.
and they'll leave the door open and dump more on me every day, but that's all right.
Speaking of manure, what about the situation with Wayne Fonts?
With the Lions,
That
huh?
looks like that's a manure
Well,
job.
you know, my feeling about that was, which I would write, is that coaches always get 5-year contracts when they're hired nowadays. That's the normal SOP, the standard operating procedure of pro football owners. You hire a coach, you give him a 5-year contract. Wayne Fonts grabbed a 3-year contract and went dancing through the parking lot at the Ford Motor Company. As far as I'm concerned, this permits Bill Ford really to take a 2-year look at him. Darryl Rogers will have been paid off by then, and Ford is used to paying a non-working coach anyway. He did Monty Clark. And before we went on the air, you mentioned that Monty Clark was mediocre, and I would say mediocrity would be an improvement for the Lions. My feeling is that he's taking a 2-year look-see at Wayne Fonts. Now, whether Wayne Fonts can do the job or not, it's very hokey, all his enthusiasm, all his hugging.
I think he's phoning a $3 bill.
But Tommy Lasorda has been very successful with the same approach. Jacques Demers is pretty much the same way. He hugs his players.
Yeah, but these guys have proven they can coach.
Yeah, okay. There's the
situation. It seems like all this past problems of this guy, maybe it should be, but swept under the rug. The caught with cocaine in the car, the leaving the scene of an accident, the drunk driving. We don't see any of that anymore. And is that right or is it wrong? And should that man have been allowed to be the head coach here because of that?
Well, the cocaine he was acquitted of that, or the charges were dropped?
The charges dropped because illegally they searched because he'd been away from the car. They brought him back and found. He said the police put it in there. This guy doesn't look right to me. I don't think this guy's a person at all.
Well, it could be. I think the bottom line is, can he coach football? I think some of his background and his character have to be taken into account also in hiring him. Bill Ford obviously felt, okay, he's my coach, and he eliminated that. And
what do you do, Jerry, if you're the owner of this team? Would you go after Tom Flores and Dick Vermeil like I said they should do?
Dick Vermeil I don't want because he's liable to explode. Tom Flores I'd love.
He'd be beautiful. He worked for Al Davis.
Because he would wear a black sweater the way I am now, and he would do it. I think Tom Flores is a terrific coach. He's won 2 Super Bowls. Dick Vermeil admittedly could not handle it because he burned out, whatever burnout is.
Yeah.
There are people who are like that.
Doesn't William Clay Ford owe it to the fans of Detroit to get the best possible man to coach his team? And I don't think he did that.
Oh, absolutely he does.
Then why didn't he go looking?
Because I think he thinks he did. I stood with Bill Ford Thanksgiving Day before the Vikings beat him, and this was one game after Fonts had coached, and Ford's enthusiasm was all back. He said he didn't think he could get something out of this season, and he is actually getting something out of this season. Well, he got
2 wins over Green Bay.
He got 2 victories over Green Bay. But that is the nature of the man who owns the club. He is a fine man. I think he knows what he's doing. I think he's I think he knows what he is doing. As far as his ownership is concerned, he is led astray. I think that
Russ Thomas leads him astray.
There's a theory that Jerry Vanisi should go in there and run the whole shot. I would say that's fine. I think he knows what he's doing with Thomas.
If he knows what he's doing, how come Russ Thomas has run this franchise for 25? I mean, Russ Thomas
he's allowed Russ Thomas.
Let him answer.
He knows what he is doing in his relationship with Russ Thomas, and I have to respect the man.
The story is, of course, that Russ Thomas saved Mr. Ford at one point in his life from a drinking problem, and that's why Russ Thomas has kept his job. Yes, is that a true story?
I have never been able to verify it. Get it from one or the other. I have never. And one won't talk to me, and the other one I won't even ask about
Bill
because
Ford
I have too much respect for Bill Ford to ask.
Why
him.
do you respect Bill Ford? He's a gross pointer who was given everything he's got in life. He's a rich boy who is the largest single
But he
shareholder.
goes to work every day. Ron was talking about.
Well, that's nice of him.
I mean, he goes to work and he works.
Calls
hard
his
at the
accountant
Ford.
and calls his broker.
He works very hard at the Ford Motor Company. He has contributed to the Ford Motor Company. He's got a football team and he runs it the way
Poorly,
he
Jerry.
would run it is a toy.
It's a toy.
I have written it's a broken toy, but it's his toy.
Yeah.
And from a business standpoint, I sometimes wonder that I understand they're raising ticket prices next year.
I can't believe that.
I can't believe that because
Jerry,
they're turning out an inferior product and they want more money for it.
Jerry, we still get back to the Wayne Fonts situation.
We got to get back to the
Whose
commercial,
man
too.
is Wayne Fonts? Is it Russ Thomas, where he can meddle above and just pull the strings? Is he a puppet, or is, like some people indicating, the inmates, meaning the players, these losing players, running the asylum?
Well, I think the players love the enthusiasm. They did not like Darryl Rogers, and you could have gone in there and gotten the players' love, Ron, as amazing as
No,
that seems.
I
Jerry, that's a little far-fetched.
I mean,
a little far-fetched.
Wait a second.
No.
I mean, Wayne Fonts happens to be the guy that Russ Thomas brought into town.
Sure it is.
He hired him before Darryl Rogers
Absolutely.
came here.
It's a
Pull the
he
strings,
is-
Russell.
he
Pull the
is-
strings on this
But
clown.
Thomas is supposed to be a lame duck. He's
Oh,
supposed
bull.
to have one
Bull,
more
you know
year.
what the other word goes
I
with
don't-
that.
He'll have the-
yeah,
he'll have
I
the
know.
knife out in
It goes
retirement,
with
believe me.
the chicken kind of
All
assignments, I
right,
guess.
we're not careful. We're going to have an hour and a half show here. We're
So?
supposed to run a half hour.
But it's good.
The fans have already heard enough of Ron Cameron today, so
Yeah,
you and I
they've
ought
heard
to
enough.
finish
You
this
go back to
program
New
out.
York where you
We're going to
belong.
take a commercial break and be right back with Jerry Green.
face.
Hopefully not Ron after this.
You'll be out.
I'm sorry, she's out of the office for the day and there's no way to contact her.
With a pager from TCOM, you could contact her anytime.
I know it's an emergency, but it's out of the building now. May I call you later?
With Motorola pagers from TCOM, you can deal with emergencies now.
I'm sorry, our delivery man is on call right now. We won't be able to help you till tomorrow.
Hi, my name is Fred Wetzel with TCOM Paging. If these problems seem familiar to you, then you need a TCOM pager. You'd be surprised how affordable they are. Probably wonder how you've done without one. Give us a call at 559-6826.
Welcome to the Rivertown Saloon, one of Detroit's hottest night spots. And how we've become so successful is simple. First of all, Rivertown is a great place to meet your friends, after work or for a night on the town. But we're not so crowded that you won't feel at home. If you want to dance, we've got terrific live entertainment Wednesday through Saturday. If you're into sports, we've got everything you're looking for on widescreen TV. As for food, your favorite American and Mexican dishes are served up in style. So whether on business, at a Wings game, or just looking for fun, come on downtown and check out the Rivertown Saloon.
Binary Computers is celebrating their 9th anniversary, and how they've become one of Detroit's top independent computer dealers is really simple. A great selection of brand name computer products, outstanding service, and highly knowledgeable trained consultants who make things understandable in plain English. Binary now has facsimile machines and telephone systems, so stop in for special anniversary savings at Binary Computers, Metro Detroit's business computer center, Woodward at 12 Mile, Berkeley. Remember, if you haven't got a computer, you'd better get one before your competitor does.
It's time to eat and I'm so hungry now. My stomach's turning upside down. Day or night when I want a bite, I want the best little burger in town. Top Hat. French fries, onion chips, creamy chocolate shakes, baby, they're so hard to refuse. Top Hat. For dinner or lunch, there's a lot to munch, and for breakfast you just can't lose. Right all day it's Top Hat, Top Hat. Make it quick, stop that. Top Hat.
We're back on Sports View Talking with Detroit News ex-columnist, now writer. We've got the knife in the back, Jerry Green. And Jerry, we talked about the line, so we beat that dead horse, and it is a dead horse. But what about the Tigers? They haven't done much in the offseason. They did make the one trade, prove the club, but I think they should be doing more. Your feeling there?
Well, first of all, they've got a rigid policy about signing free agents now, which is not in tune with the times. It's the old Tigers.
Well,
being
90% of them are
reactionary.
losers. Why would you go after take a chance on 1 out of 10 paying all that money?
How about keeping your own player?
Well,
I think that's what Jerry's talking about.
Sure, I agree
Well,
with
that too. You know, there's a discussion the other day about the most important news story in the state of Michigan, sports story, in 1988, and everybody said, "Well,
Wayne
it was
Fonts?
no, it was the
No, I know.
it was the Pistons reaching the finals and going 7 games and losing in basketball." Well, you know, the most important sports story, the one with the most impact in this town this year, was Kirk Gibson's defection last January, the last day of last January.
You think they
Because-
would have won it with him?
Well, I think they would have finished first in the division.
Uh-huh.
I think he would have had enough impact to win 2 or 3 ball games. And they
Why did he
finished
go in the
one
tank
game.
last year with the team? I'm talking about 87.
He didn't go in the
I
tank.
think he
thought
went in
he
the
did.
tank. He didn't have a good playoff
He
series.
didn't have a good
didn't-
playoffs.
but
He
a lot
didn't
of
have anything in
guys didn't.
September. He did get that one big hit, but for the most
He
part,
hit a
September.
home run that turned the team around.
Yeah, I agree.
Him
He had the
in
one
Toronto.
biggest hit, but he still had a
That's
bad
the kind
September.
of ball player he is.
But he still
He'll
had
have
a
the
bad
one hit
September.
that,
All right,
that
in our
is-
waning
overrules
in our
everything.
waning seconds in this segment, because we've gone so long with the first two, how good a
your
ball
fault.
club can this be in '89?
The Tigers? with Sparky's managing, they can finish second again because that's how they finished second this past year.
Can't win it.
With a lousy ball club.
Can't win it.
No, somebody else.
Who else is going to win it then?
Milwaukee, Toronto.
I don't think Milwaukee's. I don't think anybody's.
You guys
that
are
good.
off the air. I want to tell you that.
The
I don't think Milwaukee's that good.
New York Yankees will win the division, and we'll be back to close it
Said
out.
because of Madison Square Garden, the $550 million contract. He's a chill.
He's a New York homer.
I never thought I, of all people, would be
Take
accused
the
of being
break.
a homer.
A New York homer
A New
in
York
Detroit.
Back right after this.
We'll close it out.
Right after this.
With
Get out of
Jerry
here.
Green and just-
All the lightning, all the thunder of America's game. The NBA returns to pass this fall as the Detroit Pistons begin a whole new era of excitement. After a breathtaking trip to the NBA Finals, Chuck Daly's squad is looking to bring a world championship to their new home at the Palace. So make plans now on joining Fred McLeod and Tom Wilson for our 5th season of sensational coverage as Detroit strives to defeat the league's elite on Michigan's cable network of champions. Pass.
That was me, John Rouser, not too many years ago, as a defensive back with the Pittsburgh Steelers, after my playing career at the University of Michigan had ended. Now I'm proud to be co-owner of The Sting, Detroit's most dynamic nightclub. We've got continuous live DJs, continuous videos, and live entertainment every weekend. But you don't have to disco. The Sting is also a great after-work place to meet other professional people who frequent our lounge. So stop in and see us at The Sting. We're in the old Playboy Club, the lodge at Greenfield, with plenty of lighted, secured parking.
May I help you? Yeah! I want something good for my heart. Your heart? Yeah! Keep it light and lean for a healthy heart. What do you know what I mean? How about pasta with fruit? That's great! For a happy heart.
Eating the right foods can help keep your heart healthy. The American Heart Association, we're fighting for your life.
For that sports fan on your Christmas list, what about a gift subscription to Sports Fans Journal? Just $15 a year. Our columnists include Ernie Harwell, George Kell, Don Cherry, Dick Vitale, George Allen, Denny McClain, Jimmy Carson, Bob Feller, Bill Gadsby, Jim Northrup, and a whole lot more. Sports Fans Journal makes a great Christmas gift for sports fans in Michigan or anywhere else in the U.S. Call our 24-hour hotline at 751-1818. Call Sports Fans Journal now, 751-1818.
We're back on Sports View, closing it out with Jerry Green, who got knifed in the back of the Detroit News.
You've said that several
From
times.
columnist to writer.
Let's get to the bowl picks. It's that time of
We're doing
year.
our bowl picks.
Michigan to lose in the Rose Bowl?
I hate to say it, but I'm picking against Michigan and Michigan State, and I hope I'm wrong on both cases. And I'm both playing great football right now. But
The people don't care.
Georgia's
They want to know
tough.
what Jerry Green thinks about
USC's
it.
tough.
What I think,
What does
It's too
Jerry
bad.
Green think about this?
well, I don't see how Michigan can win the Rose Bowl. Southern California is one of the 3 best teams in the country. As far as Michigan State, Georgia, I think Michigan State will beat Georgia.
Oh, I hope you're right.
You know, I see these situations where a coach leaves the football team. Vince Dooley is leaving Georgia, and they can either play very powerfully for him, emotionally for him, or they could fizzle.
Yeah.
And somehow I think they'll fizzle against Michigan State.
Interesting. I pick these games based upon how I feel about the programs. I'm a great believer in Bo Schembechler and the Michigan program. They'll win the Rose Bowl. I do not believe in George Perlis and Michigan State. Georgia will beat them. Now, that being said, we got to thank our sponsors. Thank you for coming
Isn't
on.
this guy pitiful? Absolutely. Go back to New York and your
I
Yankees,
will.
your shill.
I will. We're very sorry about what's happened to you at the
Yes, we
Detroit
are.
News, and lots of luck.
Well, I appreciate that.
Typical of this
and,
horse manure business, though.
I appreciate your sentiments.
Our sponsors in the program, The Sting, Pass, Top Hat Hamburgers, Binary Computers, Fred Wetzel and the folks at TCOM Pages, Rivertown Saloon, Sports Fans Journal, Cattleman's Meat Center, Al Dietrich Oldsmobile GMC Truck, and now it's time to wish everybody
A Merry
Happy,
Christmas.
no, Christmas is over. A Happy New
Over.
Year.
We're doing this before
Unbelievable.
Happy
New Year,
Oh,
everybody.
You have a wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year, everybody.
Ron will see you next
This is
year.
before Christmas.
And a Happy New Year.
Happy New
And we
Year.
know who's number 1.